Good evening, everyone. Welcome back once again to Vicious Reds, and of course I am your host, your YouTube sign off an imitator. Never duplicate a superstar Tim Vicious. Gonna go over Raw this week was in St. Paul, Minnesota. And before we do, we're gonna switch gears and talk about last week via the SmackDown Rewind and the big highlights from last week's SmackDown. Well, Sami Zayn and Solo had a tag match against Madcap Moss and Ricochet. Sami and Solo got the win, but the big story out of that more than anything was the fact that afterwards when Sami and Solo were heading to the locker room, Jay confronted Sami, and Sami just, in a very polite way, stood up to Jay and was fed up with his crap, basically. He got tired of his shit. Jay was getting in him like, I don't know what you're thinking, trying to get in the family like this, but it ain't working, and paraphrasing, mind you, and Sami was just like, you know, you can think like that all you want. That's not my intention. And I'm paraphrasing all of that, keep in mind, like I said. But I dug the shit out of it. I fucking loved it. Austin Theory had a match against Drew McIntyre. Alpha Academy ran interference in the middle of the match, so Drew won technically via disqualification. Drew got saved by Kevin Owens and Johnny Gargano. Fast forward to the end of the night, it wound up turning into a trios match with Theory and Alpha Academy against McIntyre, Owens, and Gargano. The babyfaces won, obviously. Real big crowd reaction. That was real good to see. Hit Row had a tag match against Los Therios, Cordello, and Garza. Hit Row got the win. Natalya had a match against Ronda Rousey. Ronda got the win. But what actually got me and caught my eye on this match more than anything, and, you know, maybe I'm overthinking it, maybe I'm not, I don't know, but it's one part of the old wrestling in me, and the other part is the fact that, you know, I was a scrappy fighter growing up. Hard to believe, I know, right? But when Ronda got the win doing the ankle lock, but when she did it, she wasn't standing and putting it in like that, like everyone else says. No, she wound up going down and wrapped her entire body and scissored the leg to put all of her weight down on that leg, which kept Natty from being able to crawl over and reach the ropes. And I have been preaching this for fucking ever. If you're gonna do an ankle lock, scissor the goddamn leg so that way they can't. It boggles the mind on any time when somebody goes to say, oh, they're submission specialists, they do all sorts of submissions, they do this and this and this and this and this and blah 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 blah, and they can snap you and break you and all that. But then they don't do the simplest things to keep somebody from being able to go and do something to counter the maneuver. Especially in wrestling, you know, and I'm not even talking cage fighting, but I'm talking in like pro wrestling. You put somebody in an ankle lock and you've got them up like this. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to crawl. They're going to be able to move. Whereas if you drop down and wrap your entire body around that leg, that's at least, okay, in the women's aspect, that's at least well over 100-something pounds. In the guy's aspect, that's anywhere from 100 to 200-something pounds. You're going to have to drag on one leg. So it gives that more sense of realism, which is what I've been... Sorry, didn't have my coffee, didn't have a nap, or my juice. I'm good now. After the match, Liv came down, she had a bat, then her and Ronda had a little bit of a tussle, blah blah blah, build up for their match at Extreme Rules. Bayley wound up having a match with Shotzi. Bayley got the win, but the big highlight of that match was the fact that Shotzi came out with her tank. The tank is back! And my first thought was, did anyone check on Robert Stone to make sure he's not having a panic attack over this? Because that was my first thought. Yeah. And then the show ended with the trios match I talked about, but yeah, that's it. So, with that said, let's get into this week's show. Raw, St. Paul, Minnesota. It starts out with Finn Balor and Damien Priest going against AJ Styles and Rey Mysterio. Before the match, Finn winds up cutting a promo to building up for his I Quit match with Edge this coming Saturday at the pay-per-view. And I give Finn mad credit on this because in the middle of the promo, he's talking about on how last week they had the chair wrapped around AJ and they could have snapped it on him and then could have ended his career. But Finn wound up saying in the promo last night. And then he caught himself in that, and instead of just brushing it off and acting like it was still good, no, what he did, he still carried on, hot, furious, like if you just stormed into a room, storming mad at somebody, cutting that kind of a promo on somebody, all sorts of annoyed, and man, like this, and that saying, and then he did that, I could have ended your career last night. Last week, I'm so furious I got my words messed up. And that's what he did, and that was like, damn. Finn caught himself and still rolled with it. He rolled with that and did improv right on the fly like that. I thought that was just cool. Little thing like that, just small little things like that tickle me and impress me, basically. So, yeah. So, with that said, now let's get into the match. There was a big fight with everyone before the bell rang. Then they went to break. Post-break, Rey wound up being the punching bag for a cup of coffee. And then AJ got in. He got a hot tag, cleaned up. And then they went to break again. And then AJ wound up becoming the punching bag post-break. Which, okay. Then Rey wound up getting in for a minute. Match eventually comes to an end when Rey winds up having a conflicting moment with Dominik again on the outside. And before I do also want to mention, because I glossed over the promo at the beginning real fast because I wanted to get on to the match. Dom had some mic time on it and then basically wound up yelling on there, "I hate you" to Rey, which, I was seriously shocked on because, okay, we're saying we hate somebody on WWE TV. Listen, I don't know about anyone else, but the last time I remember somebody saying, "I hate you," or something along those lines, was like back in 98-ish, when Vince was saying, "I hate Austin." That's about that's the only time I really remember. If somebody said it other than that, by all means, feel free to say something in the comments. But I don't, I know WWE has a kind of, they did during Vince's time, had a big list of do's and don'ts, and one of them was talking about hatred. And to an extent, I get that, but hey. This makes compelling TV. You're just having the son saying he hates his father, denouncing him, and then saying, "Well, I know who my real father is," without ever saying it, but we all know deep down Eddie Guerrero is real Dominik's papi. But either way, back to the match. Conflicting moment with Rey and Dom on the outside, and then Rey just keeps looking like, I'm not gonna strike him, and the parent in me is just looking at him thinking, the boy's old enough to drive a car and buy a beer. He's old enough to take an ass whooping if it's calling for it. And you know what? With that kind of attitude, it's called for. And yeah, if I was Rey, I would have slapped him. Would have slapped the piss out of his mouth. And then Rey turned around and Rhea took him out. And all while this is going on the outside, AJ is on the inside with Finn. Then he gets taken down. And then Finn goes up, hits the coup de grace. 1, 2, 3. That is it. End of match. Afterwards, Rey then goes into the ring to see AJ. Apologize to him for not being there. AJ then all sorts of mad and annoyed at him. What the hell is wrong? Why weren't you there? And then shoves Rey down onto his ass. shoves him down, and then walks out. Afterwards, then, all of Judgment Day proceeds to do a beatdown. So, yeah. Then they all do the beatdown on Rhea. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Next up, we got Bobby Lashley going against Mustafa Ali, and this came to be because they showed a backstage segment where Bobby was coming into the arena, was interviewed, talked about congratulating him for being champion for 3 months now. Bobby saying, you know, it's not the title that makes the man, it's the man that makes the title. I'm looking to elevate myself, and by doing so, elevate the title in the process. Ali then steps in, says he wants a shot. He's tired of waiting at the back of the line. He's jumping forward and demands and insists on one. So we get to this. And this was very much so what you would expect. You got Bobby, who Greek gods wish they had a body like Bobby Lashley. And going against Mustafa Ali, so you basically have Bobby was just pretty much powering and dominating during the entire match. Ali had his moments, I'll give him that, and you know, but it really was it was Bobby's match. And Ali, he was a bump-taking machine on this one, just taking shot after shot after shot after shot after shot, and good God. Ooh. Just watching Ali take him just made me want to go reach for an ice pack and a thing of Advil, just God, oh. Ooh. Afterwards, Bobby then the match came to an end though, when Bobby wound up hitting a spear through Ali ass over teacups, and then put in a full Nelson, and you could see Ali, no, and then he's out. Gets the win after the match. Then Seth comes in, sneak attacks Bobby, does a curb stomp to him onto the title belt, and then takes out Ali. And then him and Seth and Riddle wind up having a face-to-face moment, building up for the Fight Pit match on Saturday. And then they officially announced also, well, it was already announced on Twitter the other day, but they officially announced on TV, UFC legend, former UFC fighter is going to be special refereeing this match. Danny Garcia, no, I fucking butchered that name. Fuck, damn it. I can never get the dude's name right, and you know, I've tried for years to get into MMA, and I'm kind of in and out. But I know enough to know the names, that's it. But, yeah, so there was that. Bobby was interviewed later on in the night about the match, as well as the attack by Seth, and then Bobby officially announced that this coming Monday on the Fallout Raw to the pay-per-view, Bobby's going to defend the U.S. title against Seth. So, way cool. Next up, we got women's action. Candice LeRae going against Dakota Kai. Whoo doggy. Good solid action. Dakota, she was leading the pace of the match. It was decent. You know, it was decent. I dug it. And again, I will say this until I'm blue in the face. Candice LeRae is tougher than you. And if you don't believe me, look at her stuff at PWG. That's all I got to say about that. If you get that reference, congratulations, you know what I'm talking about. If not, do your homework, folks. Learn. Knowledge is power. Match came to an end, though, when match came to an end. Kai got the win on how it was. Candice was building up momentum. Io was distracting the ref over here. Candice got up was starting to bounce off the rope, getting ready to bounce off the ropes. Bayley wound up throwing her off, and then Dakota wound up doing a roll-up, but not just a quick little schoolboy kind of roll-up, but rolled her up and then threw her body and arched herself like that over the legs like that. 1, 2, 3. Next up, we got Otis going against Johnny Gargano. Otis was just leading with the power, man. It was a power match. Otis was just dominating, clobbering Johnny like crazy. Like, you wouldn't... It almost kind of was like, wait a sec, didn't we just see this a minute ago? But no. This is coming off in a different way. Because at first, my first thought was, wait a sec, we just saw the big power guy going against the small scrappy, and isn't this? But the way it played out was different. So basically, same premise, but just laid out different. You know, kind of like a house. They're all the same, but the inside's different. Hope you get that analogy. Either way, Austin Theory was also on commentary, and at one point, Johnny wound up finally saying, had enough, got over, and boom! Just slapped the taste right out of Theory's mouth, and then just went on him. Got back over. Match came to an end when Theory wound up grabbing the briefcase and cracked it over Johnny's back, and then as he was going back into the ring, and then Otis picked him up, hit him with a World's Strongest Slam. 1, 2, 3, that was it. And then just as Alpha Academy and Theory were about to do a 3-on-1 beatdown, Strowman came out, ran down, and then bulldozed Otis, which, okay, not often you see Otis wind up getting pancaked like that, but then got in the ring, grabbed Gable, and was like, oh, no, we're having our match now. And yeah, so next match was Braun Strowman versus Chad Gable, and I gotta give credit where credit's due, man. Gable surprisingly held his own really damn well in a very believable way. And yes, we all know the accolades Gable has. There is no denying he is a phenomenal fucking wrestler. He's a phenomenal fucking wrestler. He was an Olympic level he's an Olympic level athlete for a reason. And I don't say this in a disparaging way or try to make comparisons, but he's in a lot of ways reminds me of Kurt Angle in the sense of you give him something and he goes with it. You want him to be dead serious, he can be dead serious. You want him to be funny, he can be funny. You want him to be dramatic, he can be dramatic. You know, in that kind of way. And it's not often that you see guys that are that comfortable with their character and the way they carry themselves out there to be able to move like that. But damn good match. Probably the most impressive part was at one point Strowman had Gable up on his shoulders. Gable slid down behind him, threw him off against the ropes. Strowman bounced off, and then Gable just grabbed him and German suplexed him. So Gable gave damn near German suplex 400 pounds right there, and just like, oh, damn! I don't care how much Strowman helped him on that lift, but God, he had to do his lion's share on that, and fuck, that's impressive. Either way, match eventually comes to an end when, as Gable's building up momentum, he's getting cocky. You can't do this to me. Whack in my home state. Whack. This, that, and the other. Whack, 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 wacky, whack, whack, whack. And then eventually Strowman's like, you know what, I had enough of these shots. And then starts going at him. And then throws a massive Sid or Kevin Nash-like powerbomb on him. And then gets a 1, 2, 3. Next up, we got Solo Sikoa with Sami and the Usos ringside, going against Angelo Dawkins with Montez Ford on the ringside. Tez wearing an air cast. They didn't say why or how he got injured, why, how, or what the injury is, but they said he's got an air cast, so he's out of commission for the time being. Either way, though, this match came to be because they showed in the back Sami burning some story. Sami telling a few stories to Solo and Jimmy. Jay comes over all dead serious. Yo, we're supposed to be doing business here. We're supposed to be putting everyone on check because Roman's going to be here next week. All right, cool, man, cool. Let's go do it. So then they go to do it, and then they get in the Street Profits face, and then Solo steps to Dawkins saying, how about you and me, we do this. So that's what leads to this match. Really good back and forth, you know. Really good back and forth at the start. Really good. Solo wound up leading the pace post-break, and I gotta tell you, I am really liking on how the way that they're positioning Solo. They're just building him up to be this I don't want to say monster because that's too much, but as the heavy, that's the better way to put it. He's being built as the heavy, and I am all fucking for it. Again, you're seeing a little squabbling between Sami and Jay, where Solo getting mad, grabbing a chair, whack, getting ready to go in there. Sami like, whoa, Solo, easy, man, easy. And then Jay coming in, oh, back up, let me handle this. That's my brother, let me talk to him. It's easy, man, easy, put it down. And, you know, you see them two squabbling and fighting with each other. And then eventually it winds up costing Solo a pin at one point. And he just looks over at them both like, you motherfuckers. Like, ooh, okay. Ooh. But either way, the squabbling continues to the point to where they're arguing on the outside and then Dawkins does a dive over the ropes, winds up hitting both Usos. Sami got out the way, but then Dawkins comes back in. Solo then grabs him, hits him with that monster Shiranagi of his, gets a 1, 2, 3. That is it. More than likely going to see some fallout from that on Friday. So next up now we come to main event of the night. Whew. Okay, definitely needed the heart pills for this one. For this one here, folks. Little Miss Bliss and Lesser Bliss going against Io Sky. And this came to be because during Bayley and Bianca's contract signing, the normal squabbling back and forth, blah, 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 I'm going to win, no, I'm going to win, blah, 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 blah. Then they cut to the back and show Dakota and Io beating up Bliss and Asuka. And then Bayley beats up Bianca, and then afterwards Bayley hightails it out of there, and then Bianca runs and goes to the back to check on Bliss and Asuka. Cut to the back, you see Asuka have a chair wrapped around her leg, screaming and yelling in pain. Bliss winds up saying, Io, I want you tonight. Don't we all? And then we wind up getting to this match. And this, I gotta say, Bliss, she unloaded at the start of the match, and there are several jokes I can make right there, but no, that's just low-hanging fruit. I'm not gonna touch that one. No, I'll get hit. I'll definitely get in a brain duster if I say that joke. Moving forward, really good match. I dug the hell out of it. It was a nice one. It was good. And I thought it was a fairly good match. Really nice to show. Io and Bliss really meshed well together. I'll say that. That's the best way I can put it. I dug it. I did. It was a damn good match. Came to an end. Io got the win on how it came to be. Bliss was starting to pick up some momentum. She was getting ready to go up. Damage Control wound up running some interference, and then Io wound up going over, doing the moonsault, gets the 1, 2, 3. Afterwards, then they do the beatdown. Do a beatdown on Bliss. Bianca was ringside. They beat her down. And then Asuka winds up dragging herself down. Singapore cane in hand, throws a couple cracks, and then gets taken down. Also, they sandwich a ladder in between Bliss. They take out everyone, and then Bayley, Dakota, and Io stand triumphant on top of the ladder. Dakota and Io holding their tag titles up high with pride, and Bayley holding up the Raw Women's title, proclaiming herself the future Raw Women's Champion. End of sequence, fade to black, show is over. So, yeah, that's it. So that's it for this week's show, folks. So please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, go back, watch some of the episodes when you can. Look for me on the Twitter at TimVicious. Also, folks, thank you to my executive producer, LeRae Ben, who did provide the music for this week's show. Make sure y'all check his stuff out. It's out there on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, all that good shit. Details like Damien know. Thank you to contributor of the show, LFC Lingerie Fighting Championship. They're a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of MMA, and a whole lot of attractive women wearing a little bit of nothing. Also, folks, check out whatamaneuver.net for some Vish Rants apparel. Help support the show. Holiday seasons are approaching. Perfect gifts for people you love or people you don't love, or just a t-shirt that you need to get to go and put in a Goodwill box to try and make yourself look nice. And do not forget to follow these cool ass cats right on the Twitter. Kenny Killer DSB_IV Diabolica RA Surgeon Curry Pants and Dubs in your face. And folks, like I always tell y'all, you love me great, you hate me. Fuck yous.